the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Our guest today is the director of the 1993 Academy Award nominee film Hedwyn from Wales, Great Britain. Welcome, Paul Turner.
Thank you very much.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, very good. Very good.
I didn't know if it was United Kingdom, Great Britain, Wales.
Well, it's all of those things.
Where do you live?
I live in Wales.
And how did a film from Wales get nominated in the Academy Award process?
Right. Well, it's a long process. No one, I suppose probably not many people watching are aware that there are more than one indigenous languages within Great Britain.
No, that was the thing that I didn't understand. I went to see the film, and I thought, oh, this is from Great Britain. I don't have to read subtitles. And there were subtitles. So what language was it in?
Well, it was Welsh, which is descended from the Old British language, which was in Great Britain for well over 1,000 years before the English ever got there.
And how did it disappear? Or it hasn't disappeared?
Well, it hasn't disappeared, and it's going from strength to strength. But that's not thanks to English governments over the years. Until 1967, it was officially illegal to use the language.
Oh, is that what happened?
So there's been major political battles over the years. The most significant event that happened about 10 years ago was the establishment of a Welsh language television authority responsible for Welsh language television programs, and that was the basis of our film industry.
So were you in at the beginning
I
of
was
this
in
film?
I was in at the begining of the whole thing, the renaissance of the Welsh language and Welsh television and Welsh film.
You've always spoken Welsh, I assume?
No, I've got to confuse you even more now. I come from a Cornish background. Cornish is a sister language to Welsh, again descended from the Old British language.
So is that 3 languages you speak? is that what it is? English, Cornish, and Welsh?
I speak very little Cornish, but it's not widely spoken. But I do speak Welsh. It's the first language at home with my lady and our daughter. And I work in the Welsh language most of the time.
Well, then how did your film was entered? Do you enter it? How do you get into the foreign film process?
Right, well, in the specific case of Hedwyn this year, we had won 6 awards in our equivalent of the Oscar, the BAFTA Cymru Awards, right? Mm-hmm. We'd won 6 awards, and someone realised that no one had entered a Welsh film, or in fact, an indigenous language film from the United Kingdom ever before. And someone said, well, why don't we try it? And so we went for it, and Hedwyn was the natural choice because we'd just come out top, as it were, on in terms of all the local films. So
that answered one of my questions, is if it was shown in your own country before it was shown in America.
Oh yeah, it had distribution in Wales last year, and in fact recently had transmission on English television as well.
Oh, it did. Now, were all of the stars Welsh?
All the stars are Welsh. All the actors are Welsh.
It's really it's a purebred.
Well, yes. I think there's about 60 speaking parts, and all of them are professional actors. A lot of people are very surprised that there's even 60 people who speak Welsh.
Well, that's what it is. It is kind of an eye-opener.
Yeah, well, it's one of the world's best-kept secrets, I think. The English have been trying to say that everyone in Britain is English, and they've done very well at persuading the world. In fact, I think their propaganda has been far more successful than the Soviet Union ever achieved.
So now you're coming out.
Now we're coming out, that's right.
Did you
and we're not going to get back in that closet either.
You obviously directed. I was going to ask you what language you used to direct.
Well, with the actors, I mean, I developed a relationship with the actors, and if I'm working with Welsh-speaking actors, then I'll be talking in Welsh to them. There were 2 or 3 actors who weren't Welsh-speaking, particularly after Hedwyn, who was forced into the army in 1917. All the officer class, very few of the officers spoke Welsh, even though it was a Welsh regiment.
Oh, I see.
So those portrayals are by English actors, and of course I speak English to them.
Yes, of
Wouldn't
course.
leave them out of it.
But when you went to write the subtitles, did you have a say in doing the subtitles? Because the Welsh has such a poetic, kind of melodious
That's right,
ring to it.
Well, I thought it was really important, and in fact the writer of the original screenplay, I co-wrote the screenplay with the original writer, Alan Clwyd, who's a bard himself, a poet himself. Alan did a tremendous translation into English, which I then looked over because he was very nervous that his language, his prime language is Welsh, and he was very unsure of himself in his second language, English. So I took the role of sort of looking at his translation, but it's really good.
Had he done it in a poetic way?
He managed to capture a lot of the essence, I think, of the spirit of what was being said. Yes, more than just the information.
Now, Hethwyn is the name of a person.
Well, yes. Heddwyn is the name of the bardic name of Ellis Evans in Welsh traditional historical circles, going back for hundreds of years. All poets would take a bardic name.
I see.
And for 300 or 400 years, the organisation, the Gorsedd of the Bards of Great Britain, is an organisation rather, what should we say, like a secret society, theoretically, in that you're not supposed to know who the poet is, only his bardic name.
I see.
But in reality, today, everyone knows who everyone is.
And so that's the story of this poet?
Well, the film is the story of Heddwyn, or Ellis Evans, who always wanted to be a poet, and his great ambition in life was to be a poet. I mean, he loved life, he loved enjoying himself, he loved ladies, he had lots of girlfriends, but what he loved above all else was to be a poet. And he wanted to achieve the ultimate accolade in Welsh society, which is to win a chair, a throne, rather like this.
Yes.
Which is given every year to the winning poet in the National Eisteddfod, which is a great national competition.
Ah.
And he finally achieved it in 1917, after many years of teaching himself the intricate metric system and working up his quality to that standard. But he never knew, because just 3 weeks before the announcement of the results, he was killed.
Oh, and we have,
Yes.
so sad.
Well,
we have a clip from that film. What part of that?
Well, this is a moment when he was forced to attend a tribunal, and was forced as a result of that to join up. And
to go to war?
Yeah, so this clip starts there, and it carries on into his relationship with one of his ladies,
So-
and what she thinks of it.
So we'll see that
Right.
clip from Hethwyn.
Your farm seems overcrowded with labourers, Mr. Owens. Both king and country demand that you present one of your sons for military service.
Diolch yn rhaid I chi fynd.
Sgynnau'n dewis.
Chi neu Bob fydd son nhw.
Fedrem gadael I Bob fynd, Jenny, diolch yn ddeunaw to.
Mae'n ddigon o rei ifanc yn mynd.
Mae o rhy ifanc.
Mae o isio mynd, Elis.
Da chi modd i fryn, disgwyl I mi aros adra a gadael I Bob fynd, da chi? Fe sa'n cael ei ladd?
Dwi'n mynd synwyr I mi, Elis. Mae Bob isio mynd, da chi ddim. Mae'r dewis yn amlwg felly, ynddi?
Ydi o?
Pryn bynnag ddari chi addo I mi.
Na fo.
It has a ch in it,
The sound.
which is the main thing I think people pick up on as Germanic.
Because I couldn't ever have known what language that was from watching. I couldn't have even guessed, because we just don't have an ear for that.
No, well, it's not your fault.
Before you actually made this film, did you have an artistic vision of what you wanted it to look like?
The vision, I think, evolved as I researched his life and his poetry. The vision of the film really came out of the images that he created for me, in my mind, when I sort of looked at his life, where he was, what inspired him, and so on. And it was that inspiration which because the film is a very personal perspective of his point of view. Although obviously it's my interpretation, it's still his point of view. So I wanted to sort of reflect what the way in which he saw the world, the way in which the world around him moved him to write poetry.
So you did. You knew what you were going into at that point. Did you have a special way of directing your actors?
Intimately. I like to work very
you?
closely with the actors. I like to encourage the actors to contribute as much as they possibly can. And we work as a team, which I think is terribly important. The worst thing I think a director can do is actually use the actors to just move when he wants them to move and do what he wants to do. He must use the people's talent, and that I thought was really important, to pull out of them resources which perhaps they didn't even know they had.
Mm-hmm. How did you get into filmmaking?
Oh, well, that's an interesting story. I started when I was very young. My best friend and I, one wet, rainy day, were scrummaging in the cellars of his parents' house and found this peculiar machine. And I asked him what it was, and he said it was a movie projector. So I said, what? So he said, and he showed me. And it was a very old French silent, which you wound the handle.
Wow.
And we put a sheet up in his bedroom, and we looked at these old films.
This sounds like it was written somewhere. Is this really true?
This is really true.
That was your lead into movie making?
And I was so excited by these flickering shadows on the wall. And in those days, we only had one television channel, and that was black and white, and that flickered even more. But I was so excited by it. I said, no, let's do it. Let's show this to everyone. So we started a cinema in the village I lived in.
Oh, how cute.
For all the children. And within a year, we were making so much money, we thought, what are we going to do with it? So we started making films, making movies.
You really did?
Really did.
But one of the things that when you spoke at the Academy about the role that you took, you said you had read just reams and reams of material, and basically Russian material on filmmaking.
Not basically Russian. I read everything I could get my hands on.
That's what it was.
Including the Russian material. Very interesting.
I think that was what was so interesting, that the Russians had all this material on filmmaking.
Well, in the early days of the revolution, film was seen as something which was liberating. I mean, the early days of the revolution, without any question, liberated artistic freedom in Russia far more than it had ever been. And until it got closed up again later on, there was this tremendous surge of excitement and new ideas coming forth. And a lot of that, of course, came into what is film all about. And what excited me about what I read was people like Eisenstein, who would advocate montage, editing as the center of film, how you put two pictures together and create another meaning again. That was magic.
So that was the most fascinating thing to me, and I think it was very fascinating to you because you've used all of that in your directing abilities. And
yeah, I like to think so. I like to think that I was an editor in the BBC for 10 years, and that I think is a really important basis for how I direct.
And I congratulate you on being a nominee, on being nominated. I think anyone who's nominated wins. And so you're a winner in our book.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Paul Turner, and we'll hope to see you in the United States again.
I hope so.
Thank you. And don't go away, because we have someone coming back who really loves to talk too. See you in a minute. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back. I promised you someone who loved to talk. Well, Frankie Pace will not only talk, he'll make funny sounds, funny faces, and I know he's going to throw us all off guard. He calls himself an actor with visual props. Get this, he was a plumber in New York. What a start for a comedian. Is that really true?
Yes.
Yes?
Local 2 in New York City.
Oh, you belong to the union too?
Yeah, well, not anymore, but I did.
But how did you then move from plumbing to comedianing?
Necessity.
Necessity?
No,
I would think you'd stay in plumbing.
I should have stayed. No. I don't know. I was a musician. I was a musician
you
for
were?
a while. Yeah, worked with the Earls when I was a trumpet player.
Oh.
And then from there,
did you sing too?
No, just a backup trumpet player. Then from there, I went into comedy at a little club called the White House Inn in Massapequa, Long Island. Eddie Murphy came from there, Rosie O'Donnell, Jackie Martling from the Howard Stern Show, and a few other guys, and that's where I started.
I thought they all came from New Jersey.
No, Long Island. Well,
I've
a lot
never
of guys
heard
from
of this place.
Jerry Seinfeld is from Long Island.
Do you still live there?
Yes, I do.
So we're really lucky to have you in California. Yay!
Yeah,
Because
and
you're
I got my
doing-
first quake. Sunday.
How was that?
I'm sitting in the car.
How'd you feel?
I'm sitting in the car, and I'm at the light, and I get one of these. So I get out of the car and I go to the truck behind me. And go, what the heck is the matter with you? Why do you keep pushing me? He's
no,
like,
you didn't.
What? I said, what are you pushing my car for? He goes, I didn't push your car. I goes, well, what was that? He goes, it was an earthquake. Oh my God! It's my birthday earthquake.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, you know,
we don't know about the snow, so at least you can live.
Right.
You can be here. How
I like
long
this.
are you?
I feel like I'm King Lear here. With this.
You are. We gave you the angel wings and everything.
Yes, I
You
could
know,
be Henry. Now is the winter of our discontent.
But no one's compared you to King Lear.
No.
They've compared you to Zero Mostel.
Right.
Why?
Or possibly maybe the Jetsons.
Oh, the Jetsons?
You're fired, Jetson.
Do you do voiceover?
Yeah, I do a little bit. Do a little bit of voiceover, a lot of visual props and stuff. I'm working at the Westwood Playhouse with Hal Cantor. We're doing a show called Laughing Matters.
And you're doing visuals
I'm doing
that?
all visual
What,
stuff. Like a CB radio, maybe. Wait a minute, I'll give you a light.
You do this on stage? You just come out and do this on stage?
I get paid for this.
You were good in the earthquake. That's what we need, those kind of things. So you could have just stood there and done that. But why? What's the comparison to Zero? Not just the hair, the head.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I have no idea.
And Dom DeLuise, not the girth.
Oh, wait a minute. I lost a little hair.
Maybe Italian.
Danny DeVito, if I shave the mustache off.
So we have
If I wear a beret, I look like Gallagher. I have no life. I have no life. I look like everybody.
You don't need a life, though, right? You do all these commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And you have other people's lives in the commercials, too, don't you?
Like the Saturday Night Live, Cosby Show, Joan Rivers Show.
How did a Saturday Night Live start?
Well,
was that like a stepping stone for you?
Yeah. I quit plumbing.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
so tell us about that.
I was working out at the Comedy Store, Catch a Rising Star in New York City, and they wanted a warm-up comedian. I was one of three. They picked the other two, and I just hung out for most of the night and never got on. But I ran into Eddie, and Eddie had told Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah,
had told Dick Ebersole, he said, yeah, that Pace is funny. You should use Pace. So they came out and said, Eddie says you're very funny. We'd possibly use you on the show for a 6-minute spot. Great. I went down and rehearsed it. They saw me. They brought me on. Did Saturday Night Live. And then the phone never stopped ringing. So.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So that was a great stepping stone. Yeah. It's wonderful when you can see something the way it happens, and then your career takes off. And after you've been on this show, your career is going to take off again.
Well, I've been on Star Search too, so don't,
You opened for Whoopi Goldberg, I think?
No, I worked with Whoopi Goldberg on Comedy Tonight, which was a pilot comedy show. That's where I met her. And that was before she did Color Purple, before she became a big star.
How was she at that
She's
point?
She's a sweetheart, real sweetheart.
Was she doing comedy?
She was doing, at the Lyceum Theater, she was doing a one-woman show called Whoopi. And she brought me down there to see her, and she put me on stage, and she put her arm around me and said, "This is where you belong. Here."
Is that right?
The theater.
So there's more. There is more of this. And also Robin Williams.
Yeah, I worked with Robin, did improvs at Catch a Rising Star.
Same thing.
And he came over to my wife and said, someday I'll be on the Frankie Pace show. So.
Oh, that's good. Did you learn anything from those people? Yeah,
I learned that in life that you could be anything you want to be. You could be president of the United States. You could be an astronaut, go to the moon. But me, I want to be a cow.
I knew you were going to do this.
Moo. Could be a holy cow. French, moi. Jewish, nous.
What about Italian? Because your name, when I saw your name Pace, I thought it was Pace.
Italian cow. Okay. Hey, moo. What's the matter with you? What are you, stupid? Could be a black cow. Say moo. Okay. Could be a drunk walking out of a Red Lobster. I'm stuffed.
Did you ever do anything serious on stage? Have you done any acting that was a serious stage
drama?
drama?
I played a real villain in a one-act play called Eat Cake. I was a really nasty person, and that was fun.
And was that in New York?
I did it. Yeah, it was a one-act play. We did it out in off in Broad. It was actually in the river somewhere. So, and I did that, and I enjoyed it very much. But comedy's been main focal in my life for the last 15 years. But lately, I'm trying to get into theater more, and I've been studying and hopefully do more theater.
So this play,
'cause I have a nice voice.
Yes.
I have a theater voice, don't I? Yes, I do. The theater. I love the theater.
What about this play with Hal Cantor?
This is.
Tell us a little bit about the name and what about.
It's called Laughing Matters. It stars Hal Cantor, who was a writer for the Academy Awards. He wrote everything that Whoopi said. He wrote.
25 years, they say. He says, I think, I'm going to do it again. Maybe I'll get it right.
Right. He's a real sweetheart.
Was he easy to work with?
He's wonderful, man. Wonderful, man. All the guys are great. Marty Brill, who's opened for Shirley MacLaine and many stars. Jackie Kahane worked with Elvis Presley for many years. Hank Garrett is a well-known character actor. You might have seen him in 3 Days at the Condor.
Oh, yeah.
He played a postman with a machine gun. And so this basic story is about three guys waiting for Godot, but it's really Freddie Sherman, who is the guy that hired them to do a benefit. And Freddie Sherman's not going to show up, so they have to get a replacement.
Oh, you're the
I'm the
replacement?
yeah.
So you come out with all these tricks and do 20 minutes of shtick?
I come running down and I'm late, and there's a big banter that goes on between me and Hal about why I'm late and who are you. One of the lines is, who are you? And I say, how do I know? And he said, do I know you? And I say, how do I know who you know?
That's right. That's exactly right, too. Hal is very funny, and he's written all these fabulous lines. How is he as a director? Does he crack the whip? Does the funniness stop?
No, in fact, Hal he will edit himself. If he doesn't believe it's not going to work, he's going to pull it out. He had a big part in the beginning, and it just wasn't working the way he wanted it. So he says, we're going to strike that because we're going to work a lot tighter. And they're still working on a lot of things to tighten it up a lot more.
But is he?
We only had a week of previews,
Does he lose his humor?
Hal? Never.
When he's directing?
Never.
So do you guys
he could be on the
crack each
toilet. I
other
can hear him in the other room telling me jokes while he's on the toilet. Frank, I got another one. I was like endless with
it
him.
never stops?
No.
Do you just crack each other up all the time?
And if they're not doing that, they're playing the piano and singing during breaks. So.
Can you sing?
You're
going to sing for us?
Oklahoma, where the land is without a sea. I don't know the words.
I can see you in musical
I would love to do a musical.
Yeah, I think you'd be
Maria, I just kissed a girl named Maria. How corny can you get?
I think it's great, but we have a really fabulous commercial that you did for Super Bowl. Was it
it was an NFL special that I did.
So we want to see that. And then we're going to let you come back and do some more tricks.
Okay.
The lemon trick, maybe. We'll watch our friend Frankie Pace.
Peace.
Peace.
Hey, man, listen. We need your help with a map. We need directions to the Super Bowl in Atlanta.
Well, how about some tickets to see Cats?
No, you don't understand. We accidentally took the Super Bowl trophy, and we really need a map to Atlanta right away.
In that case, how about 2 front rows for the Ice Capade?
A map! That's all we need is a map!
All right. I know exactly what you need. Here.
Uncle Mario, how are you? What's up? Listen, we gotta get this to Atlanta. It's the Super Bowl trophy.
Listen, we need to stock up on munchies.
Come on, fellas, I'm working.
Oh, come on, man.
All right, I'll give you 30 seconds. Go get something and go. Go.
My baby. Okay, here we go. Rock and roll. Cookie! Johnny!
You forgot your trophy. Hold on.
I think there's a little sacrilege there on the Russian rye. Tossing that around.
Well, somebody ate that. I don't know who. It wasn't me.
How many times did you have to do that?
Oh, we did a lot of those on almost 1 take or 2 takes.
Really?
Yeah. We had a lot of fun with that.
Is there a lot of quick editing on it?
Yeah, these guys are really good.
Who made it? You were just talking about.
That's Rob Sarcher from Indigo Productions.
Yeah, because it really is slick, isn't it?
Yeah,
and you look
MTV.
great.
It's kind of like MTV-ish.
You play every role.
Yeah.
And you just went after it, one after the other?
It's kind of like the Abbott Costello with Mr. Fields. I would be Mr. Fields. Boys.
Well, that clip was running. You slipped something into one of Kathleen Spiegelman's drawers.
I like this. This is really like...
We don't want to leave it in there because when it gets back to her shop, she'll wonder, what did you leave in there?
Mille dame osso che Radio Cinema che la single secondo che de Miami Beach.
That's another prop you carry around with you?
I got them all over the place.
I thought we better worry because...
And I'm a prop. Look at this. God, you know, my face is growing.
Your hat. I like your hat. Put your hat back on.
There you go. Buffalo Bills, they lost.
What about the lemons? We put these lemons here for you because we thought you could do... That's good. We like that one.
Oh, wow. I'm a cartoon character. It's great. I can't juggle.
Who writes your material?
I do.
You do? You mean someone didn't send you with all this material?
No, Comics Today, most Comics Today write all their own stuff. So, you know, we just... got that one.
Are you still drawing from your plumber days?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. I have a couple of sitcoms in mind that I'm writing from guys that I knew in the old days. And
that's what that was the last question I was going to ask you before we go off, because they call you a new star, and I have a new star on my show. What does that mean? And you only have up to go.
It means that you have to look for me with all those other stars out there.
You only have up to go.
Hopefully, I have to get my wife another house.
So that's the working process, huh?
She wants a newer house.
Do you write?
Yes.
So, I mean, you write your own material, but would you write a sitcom?
Yeah, I would write. I'd like to write. Do something creative.
Would you come out to Hollywood?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a snowball effect here. Hopefully that this play will do well, and then something will come from that. Then something will come from that, and I'll probably be out here indefinitely, and I'll never see my family again, and I'll be here. But the weather will be nice, but then there's the earthquakes.
No, I think your wife will have a new house out here.
Probably.
And we want to look for her there. Good. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being with us, Frank Pace. Frankie Pace, thanks for being with us today on the Joan Quinn Profiles. Thanks for all of your letters, and we hope you like the show. See you next time.